Hola, children, los ninos, whatever. This is example 2 for Math 7 9-4, surface area of prisms. So in our second example here, it's a little bit different from the first because we're talking about a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism, not super different from the cube. It still has 6 faces. But this time, instead of those faces being squares, our faces are rectangles. So still going to be using that area equals length times width formula for my area of a rectangle. You could also be using base times height, just not length times width times height. That's too much. Okay, so in these questions where it gets a little bit more complicated, where you have different sides, it's going to be really important to organize your work, and highlighting is going to be extremely helpful. There are like 3 different sets of corresponding congruent, aka equal, sides that we can look at in a box. Our first options are the top and the bottom, right? The top and the bottom rectangles are the same. After the top and the bottom, we're going to take a look at the sides. And lastly, after the sides, we're going to look at the front and the back, which gets us our 6 faces total: top, bottom, 2 sides, and a front back. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the front, or just kidding, the top of my box, because that's what we're starting with, and that will kind of help me get a better visual. The top of that box, like we said, the nets are going to be super helpful. The top of that box, when we look at it at the net, is over here, which is also the same as the bottom of the box, which is demonstrated right here. Taking a look at our diagram, you can see that that 45 is definitely the length of that rectangle, but now we need to figure out the width. Might be thinking that it's 15, but it's actually not. If you look at that 15 is not part of my pink highlighted box, which is why the highlighting can be helpful. But that is the same length as that 25 down there. So it seems to be that our dimensions are 45 by 25. So here we go. Area equals, I don't need to rewrite the length times width formula because I already wrote it up there. 45 times the 25, it gives me 125. Just kidding, 1,125. Now, that only represents the area of the top or the bottom. It's only one of those, it's not both. So we're making a note of that. That is the top only. So in order to consider the bottom of that, which is the same exact thing as that rectangle, we're just going to take that 1125 and multiply it by 2 so that we're considering both sides, both the top and the bottom. The 1125 times 2 gives us an area of 2250 centimeters squared. Okay, up next, looking at the sides. So again, just highlighting that in a different color now so I can get a better visual. Those sides are represented by these pieces here. Boom. Boom. And as you might be able to see from the diagram, that rectangle has dimensions of 25 and 15. 15 and 25. Okay, so area equals 15 times 25. 15 times 25 turns into 375. Remember that 375 only represents one of the sides, not both of the sides, so we have to multiply that by 2 to get the area of both sides, 750 centimeters squared. And again, I'm just being really peculiar about this, that this is only one side, and this is where we get both for that times 2. These surface area problems, they're not super difficult in terms of the kind of math that you have to do, but they do get a little tedious in terms of like having to do the same thing over and over and over again. Oh, my wrist hurts from writing so much. This is my fourth time doing this one. Okay, so last but not least, we have the front and the back, which you can always, if you're struggling to look at those dimensions in that diagram there, you can always just redraw the rectangle. You know, if you look at the net, we've got that rectangle there, that one there. This top dimension is the same as that, making it 45. And this side is the same as that, 15. So 15 and 45. Okay, area equals 45 times the 15. 45 times the 15 gives us 675, but again, that's only for the one side. 675 times the 2 for the second side gives us a total of 1350 centimeters squared. And again, just making these notes, you don't have to do this on your practice problems, but I do want you doing this on your notes so you could see why we're multiplying by 2 and not just randomly multiplying by 2. All right, last but not least, final step to get your total surface area would just be adding all your areas together. All right, notice the change in notation as I get down to surface area equals SA equals, I'm going to call it the total surface area, and that is 4,350 centimeters squared. And that is example 2.